No, it's not money over bitches. It is. It is called Magic on a Budget, and it's dealing with staying in the mundane and having your magic practice, finding the balance between the two. Your magical practice is going to be using your subconscious mind, or at least using your conscious mind to put something in your subconscious mind. Now, if you do the things I said, you are actually going to probably be putting things directly in your subconscious mind. Anyways, the idea is polarity. I talk about polarity quite often. I tell you to look at people that talk about polarity and their medical laws and stuff like that. So I'm going to create some polarity within my broadcasting. So I'm going to have one channel, this one, Ceremonial Witchcraft, which is all the systems I've developed, or taken from, rather, and put it into practice to make my own little practice. And to me, that's one of the best ways, because the things that you resonate with are the things that you should use. And if they are popular things that are part of systems, well, even though you may not be following that system to a T, you're still using. That's just something that a lot of people have used and put their energy in and put their belief in and stuff like that. So it makes it powerful. But that's what this channel is. It's going to be teaching. I went over mindset and the importance of having the right mindset in a few different ways and a few different things a few times. But that other channel is going to be, if you don't have enough money to buy, $60 worth of candles a week, and then, another $20 worth of incense. Because even if you go to the dollar store for this stuff, it's still going to be pretty expensive. And that's just funny. My little daughter's trying to catch a bird right now who's taking worms out of the ground. Anyways, some people won't be able to afford that if they not successfully do a magic yet. And, a lot of things make it believe. Now, the book, I use a curriculum out of it, just one white candle, and you don't have to leave a... Get her! Thank you, Boop. My daughter's having trouble going up the stairs right now. You gotta... Good girl. Way to go. Good fix. Good save. Sorry about that. The book I said is just, your first initiation practice is just using one white candle as you go into your temple for there. I don't know if you do 6 months. And after the 6 months, you start going up to a few more different candles and different things. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but anyways, so it's not too bad just buying white candles if that's what you're doing. Now, I'm not going to say that's what I did. I've always been big into planetary and, witchcraft. So even during my initiation, I did take still from other systems and put other things into practice that in my mind were in line. And, I didn't just do 6 months. I did a full fucking year of initiation. So maybe that's why. Maybe it's because I stopped. Maybe I didn't feel I was ready. And maybe I was ready and I just didn't want to move on because, a lot of people don't like change, but change is the only constant in life. But that's besides the point of this. I'm trying to make the point of my channels are going to be, this one's going to be for your subconscious mind, how to effectively put stuff in your subconscious mind. And the other one is going to be still going to deal with how to get stuff in the subconscious mind and all that, but it's going to be mainly DIY stuff from time to time, and how to explain to your loved ones why you use candles and have a pentagram necklace or pentagrams in your house, or why you draw sigils and symbols and weird pictures around the house and stuff like that constantly. Slow. You're never going to catch that birdie, baby. It's cute that you're trying. He's getting worms. He's eating his nummies right now. But you just tried last time and it didn't work. Oh, you're trying to do like the kitty cat does, eh? You're cute. Sorry about that. And it's going to be about trying to explain yourself or not explain yourself, how to avoid these questions, because I do both. My wife asked me what certain things are, and I've gotten very good at kind of changing the subject, avoiding, and or saying truthful statements about what they do, but not in a magical way. Not the way I'd probably explain it to you guys. Maybe a little bit, mainly from a scientific and or psychological point of view, and how it relates. Or using one of my avoiding tricks is finding a as above so below correspondent that she'll understand, and that's, in my opinion, one of my talents. I do it a little bit on the channel here, but I'm very good at, actually I'm not going to take credit for it, say I am, spirit, mainly Mercury, probably, or that's what I think, but different spirits have talk through me or give me the knowledge into my head, or whatever the case is. My subtle channeling that I talk about a few times now, that's where I get the answers from. And from those answers, I get these correspondences and all that, I'll be talking about something, and all of a sudden an idea will pop into my head. I'm trying to think of an example, but I'm worried about my daughter again. She keeps climbing something, and she's getting good at it, but there's always that chance, and you don't really want to say it out loud or think about it. But anyways, I don't want to put energy into something that could hurt her. But finding correspondences for things happens a lot to me. It pops in my head a lot, things like that. So that's what I do with my wife, and it normally happens at the right time. It's not always just me coming up with it. There are certain things that I already have a correspondent ready for her when she asks me the question, and there are other things that I'm not ready for, and then something just pops into my head, or she'll say something, and that'll spark an idea or whatever, Listening when someone talks is huge. And in my opinion, not a lot of people do that anymore. Most people are just waiting for their turn to talk. And part of the initiation process is, learning to listen. That vow of silence, staying quiet. And that's one of the reasons you do it. You just listen to what people have to say. And when you train listening on the micro level, it starts happening on the macro level. Or if that correspondence doesn't work for you, you want to flip it around, that's fine too. But if you start listening to people and not always being the first one to talk and interrupting people, well, when you go to meditate or channel or automatic write or whatever, because you've been practicing it in your life with your conscious mind, you'll have an easier time doing it when you're trying to listen to your unconscious mind. See, everything is like that. Everything you do on the mundane level will filter through the spiritual level, anything you do in your earth, if you keep your house clean and keep tidying up the clutter, not only are you going to, if you do it every day, a couple times a day, not only are you going to reprogram your mind that it's okay to do chores and it's not going to be such a big deal anymore and all that, you become a habit and you just do it, you're also going to be decluttering your mind when you do that. Your environment is, how you can get omens from. But if it's all cluttered, how are you going to see when there's something trying to tell you something? You might be about to see something and stub your toe on your fucking kid's fucking toy, and then, get all pissed off, and spirit was just about to talk to you, and now you just cursed it away, and, now you're going to have a negative spirit trying to talk to you instead of a positive spirit, because we talked about that too, like attracts like. But that's not what the talk's about today. The talk today is about a few things. One is going to be servitors. Maybe not servitors. And if I have time, I'm going to go into a little bit about servitors. But I misspoke there. Sorry about that. My daughter was coming up to me and I was trying to say, "Sorry, baby, I'm recording. I don't know if I can pause and keep going or not." And I'm pretty sure I can't. But it's going to be about your subconscious mind, hypnosis, and how to... You got a kink, baby. It's spraying over here like crazy. All right, just stopped. You were kinking it. Watch out for that. It was almost spraying the computer. Sorry about that. I had to fix the hose, and anytime you put a kink, shit goes crazy on it. So, but anyways, it's going to be, your magical name, the importance of having a magical name. And it's important for a few reasons, and it's not something you should write down on any book or anything in your house that people, friends, especially anybody that knows you're practicing magic, especially anybody who can hold a grudge against you as well, should be able to find. Because if they do and they know your magical name, wow, you're in trouble. You're in real fucking trouble, okay? It's kind of like if you, this is another correspondent, but not a subtle one, or an easy one to understand, but if you know anything about hypnosis and you have triggers to put yourself into trance and all that. Like the movies, and you put a trigger into someone and they start acting like a duck. They're in a complete trance and they can't do anything but quack. Or there's actually porn out there apparently that you can put a girl into fucking trance and do what you want to her. It's kind of like some fucking rape shit. It's pretty fucked up how they try to use something that can be considered holy or important or for self-improvement and turn it into something bad. I'm not going to say I don't watch porn and shit like that. I've actually watched some of those before. But that's not the point. It's not something I would ever promote or want to watch or anything like that. Even though you can tell they're acting and all that. But point is, hypnosis, if someone knew how to get you into a trigger like that, or try to put you into a trance or anything to that effect, you'd be in trouble. And the same thing with your magical name. I said this before too, in the Exorcist movies, when they're trying to exorcise a demon out of somebody, it's important to know the name of said demon. Once they know what demon's in there, or the name they go by, then they have control over it and call it out. You know what I mean? There's other ways to get it out, even though you don't know the name or whatever, but you need to know the name of the spirit you're trying to get out. Same with healing for same for healing using magic. If you are trying to get rid of a disease and you don't know the name that it's technically gone by or something like that, then it's not very going to not be very effective. If you just generalize and a person actually has that issue, then yeah, you're going to make it a bit better. But if it's not the actual issue, the main problem, or the main symptoms, or the symptoms could be for something else, you know what I mean? Very important in identifying what you're doing. You don't want to make it so big, your statement of intent, for example. You don't want to make it so big if you're doing magical healing. You don't want to make it so big that you can't fucking, you got such a big word that assiduals off the table, because you have to scratch it. You don't want to do all the scratching of the letters and all that. But you can't complicate it too much. Like I said, the more basic it is, the more powerful it is. And that's because your energy, once again, is all into one line, right? If you're saying, I want to get rid of her ear infection and her throat infection and her bruises on her legs and any of her cells that aren't growing right, and this and that and the other thing, well, you're spreading that intention all over the place. And, you can do multiple different spells at different times, Focus all your energy on one thing. When that thing comes to fruition, and move to the next. Trying to do things all at once is part of the way we've been raised / programmed. And it's something you need to kind of let go and think of one thing at a time. Sometimes just fixing one problem can fix them all as well. So as if you're trying to fix everything, but you're not focusing on the right problem, One of those things probably caused everything else. So if you get the main one, you're going to get rid of all of them. But once again, that's not what I'm trying to talk about. But
started the day I got caught under the covers with second-hand lovers. Oh, tied up in pretty young things in a state of emergency. Who was I trying to be? From the time of being sad, it's over, and you miss them like you miss no other. And being blue is better than being over it, over it. You sinner, stand up, sing hallelujah. Stay
about subconscious mind, and they're naming it. So your magical name is something to separate you from your mundane name. So when because when you are trying to impress on your subconscious, you are trying to touch that part of your mind that is untapped. So we'll use my name as, the examples here. Not my magical name, I ain't giving that shit out. But my mundane name is Corey LeBlanc. Okay, so before I had a magical name and was trying to manifest things, it's important to sign your things, your names. I would even sign my candles with my name and stuff like that. Once I've made my own magical name, I would sign my candles. After I made my sigils, I would sign my statements of intent on my glasses of water. Anything that I was using to anchor, I guess would be the word, I guess, because you want to anchor something in the physical with one of the elements, depending on the element you are trying to invoke into your spell. So if you're using a candle, for fire, incense for air, which there's other things you can use for air, and I'll talk about that after. Like I said, a glass of water for water. It could be different things with water in it or whatever, but things like that. You want to use those to anchor that specific element. So, you want to get rid of emotional blocks. You can write something like that on water. You want to do something to add fire. Like I've said before, my birth chart has not many fire elements in it. So for me, some of the first magic I did after my manifestations and maintaining my money and my bill situation was to add fire to my life. It's part of, I used fire as in discipline to, Mia, that's enough. As into, because I always had a problem. I'm not going to say I'm good at a lot of things, but there's a lot of things that interest me that I do have some kind of natural skill and am all right at doing stuff. I understand things and I learn things pretty quick once I do learn them. And every time I learn something new, I always find fast and effective ways of doing it very well, very quick, the steps that I did perfect. However, I have a problem with sticking to things like most people. I would either lose interest or just not have the time to continue, or a bunch of things. So something I cast for earlier on was extra discipline, using fire, using Archangel Raphael, using the sun, and mainly the sun. Even though the sun is kind of an east thing, and it's not so much fire. I meant to say Mars there. Sorry about that. Mars. Most people do associate the sun with fire, and you can do that if you want, as long as it works for you. That's fine. To be technical, though, the sun is mainly helium, and it's a gas, and gas would be air, right? Because air is technically in the classification as gas, and water is obviously water, earth is obviously earth, fire is obviously fire, stuff like that. But you can get to elements for all those things. I'm getting off the topic, but you want to anchor your spells with something, okay? And having your magical name instead of your mundane name is an extra anchor. It's an extra show that you're treating now your subconscious as a separate entity, which is part of you. If you're trying to do the healing magic, like I was talking about earlier, you need to talk to the cells of your body as separate entities that have their own consciousness. Now, yes, your subconscious is part of you, but it has its own consciousness. It's a program that dictates your environment, your reality, what you can do, what you can't do, and everything in between that. What you're good at, what you're not good at. The things that were said to you as a child are going to have an effect on you that were actually programmed into your mind. So this is a self-running entity that you can ultimately tell what to do. But first you have to remove or replace what's already been told what to do, okay? I know that can be complicated, but that's what I'm trying to teach here. And that's how you can do magic without actually using the candles and the incense and all that. But all that stuff is symbolic, and it anchors something in there to you. So your name is also symbolic. So apart from the obvious protection reasons, like if someone is magical casting against you and they don't know your magical name, they can say, Corey LeBlanc's magical name, but without actually hitting that magical name, it's not going to work, And if it does get close, any of the other defenses, wards, and just doing my banishing rituals are gonna knock that out of the park. I won't even get in the door, kind of thing. And the fact that I have that much faith in my things is on its own, huge. But out of the blue, well, not out of the blue, but this information was given to me through, my subconscious, my higher self, whatever. So it's going to work for me. I mean, it came from me. And like I said, unless it did come from a book that I don't know about, but chaos magic, Birch talks about this. I think maybe even Frater, but they talk about the fact how chaos magicians, they would, he really promotes checking chaos magic because they'll take their ideas to the next level, like crazy stuff, using Star Trek as deities that you can pray to, replacing them with old deities, because everybody who's ever believed in Star Trek or watched Star Trek, learned all the names, the languages, the different species and races and stuff like that, that are real Trekkies, There's a hell of a lot more of those people alive right now, still believing in that stuff, than there is that people believe in probably the old gods and deities that we're worshiping, I can pick out far more Trekkies than I can pick out people that believe in the planetary gods. So just that concept alone you could use that in your magic, and it would probably work, and it might even work better than some of these old religions. But they like to take concepts and just run with it. Let your imagination get the best of them, and I watched those videos from Birch, and then I studied some chaos magic, and I think it's Go Who Egregore by Phil Hine, how he made an egregore to make gossip about himself because it made him super popular just by having people talk shit about him, which is a crazy concept, but it worked on his behalf. Initially, he was going to create an egregore to I don't know if he wanted to kill or hurt these people, but it was somewhere along those lines because he was in a pretty dark place, and then he got an idea probably from his higher self or angels, whoever's around him, and they told him to create the gossip instead. And when I got back to him, it was so outrageous that he was like, "My God, that's fucking awesome," crazy stories. But anyways, so taking that concept, that kind of expanded my concept, and it was to program my subconscious as my magical name. Now you can have a different magical name. You can have a magical name for when your conscious and your subconscious together. You run with this and do what's right for you. But giving your subconscious a separate name as an entity, on its own, is going to help. It's helped me. I don't know if anybody casts against me or if anybody listening to this doesn't like what I'm saying and trying to shoot things at me. I put pictures out there of my tarot card, my devil card, and candles, and my pentacle little altar thing. That's kind of like a on-the-go altar that I use from time to time. And but like I said, if they're casting against ceremonial witch or Corey LeBlanc, well, they might be able to do harm to the ceremonial witch thing, but I put things in place for that too. I get very creative. I like doing this stuff just to be creative, and it totally helps with all my magic to throw out ideas, because like I said, I'm good with correspondences, as above so below, and figuring out, well, if I'm using this as for this particular magic operation, well, I'm going to figure out a bunch of ways to use that for all my magical operations, and even my mundane life. But anyway, so I reprogrammed my subconscious. I did it in a way, I did it overkill, probably. The script I wrote was, I initially start with a protection bubble that you make. It's from the Protection and Reversal Magic from Jason Miller. You can be standing anywhere. It could be inside, doesn't matter. You say Descenda Colombe 3 times, Ascenda Serpent 3 times. Alright, doesn't matter if you do one and then the other, one and the other, or all 3 first, all 3 1. Picture light coming down from above. Picture, I want to say red energy coming from the earth up. And when they both meet at your heart, well, first you go E with your index finger, or I use both, my index and my middle finger, at your forehead, at your third eye, and you go Ah with a flat hand on your solar plexus chakra, and you do an O with your hand, and you put the O at your sacral. And then from there, you visualize, still visualizing the light come from the ground and from above you. And you put your left hand as a fist right on your solar plexus chakra once again. And you put your other hand on top. And it says push for 5 pounds of pressure. And from there, you throw your arms out in front of you. And you visualize both those energies combining and making, all the purple, a big purple bubble around your entire body, going into the ground and above your head, as big as you want, expand as large as you want. I actually put the sigil, the transformation sigil on that as well, because Birch has to put it on, your bubble, your shields up bubble or whatever. And this is my shields up bubble that I use. So I start off with that process, and I've recorded this on a recorder. From there, I lay down and I talk softly, like hypnosis, and I get myself to breathe and all this. And I made it very, very Michael Sealy as much as I could. And from there, I do the magnet meditation, where magnets come from the earth and it goes all around your body. When if you're laying down, one comes at your feet, kind of horizontally, and pulls the negative energy out of your aura, and one comes at your head, pulls it out. One comes on your right side, left side, one comes from below you and above you. And then you visualize that going to the center of the earth, where it gets renewed and recycled by Gaia, by Mother Earth, by our planet. And from there, the light comes from above once again and rejuvenates your aura. You took everybody's energy you picked up, any dark energy / entity things that could be lingering on you have all been removed. And you will feel this. I think I talked about this already before. So after that process is done, from there, I get up, and this is visualizing in my head, but I get up and it's all recorded on the thing. So even if I fall asleep, it's still getting my subconscious mind. And I played this for fucking 3 months every fucking night without fail. And during the day, if I had a chance to meditate or go to sleep when my daughter was sleeping. And from there, I started, I cast a circle, and I cast a circle, and I do my Kabbalistic cross. I go larger than the earth, with the earth at my feet. And from there, I do my lesser banishing of the pentagram. And by the last month, I actually put the greater ritual of the pentagram in there, but the lesser banishing would be just enough. And then from there, you do your middle pillar. And in the middle, in the middle, I didn't do anything. Actually, I just, I think I made a simple script for thanking, deities, gods, archangels for everything for helping me remove and replace old programming and adding new programming, being grateful for having my subconscious programmed as said name and all that. It was just very vague and literal, vague and exactly what I was going to be trying to do. And once that was done, I do another lesser banishing, and then a Kabbalistic cross, and I thank the watchers and the elements and elementals, and then I would finish up. I wouldn't close that circle though, and still visualizing that circle there. And then I got into my hypnosis script once again, and that's whenever I got a little weird with this, but it worked for me. But the point of the Kabbalistic cross and all those other things during that and before that was to purify the area and energies. Because on the New Age sites I was watching at the time, they said even if you're meditating, during meditation, to put up a circle and all that. And I never knew what that meant, and I never actually did that. But they said, crossing over and combining your minds and stuff like that, especially now what I know. Knowing what I know now, I totally would do that. So because I'm trying to reprogram my mind and try to put in a name that I don't want no one to know, I wanted to purify my energy first and foremost, and the things attached to me. I want to purify the room I'm doing it in. I want to, the lesser banishing of the pentagram lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram is made to get rid of any energies that are around you, and could fuck you up and do anything bad to you and leech on you. So by doing all that, yes, you make yourself known. Yes, that is true, but you're protected. And with that circle open, nothing can technically cross. No demons, no entities, no nothing. So that circle is open and everything. And then that's from there, I ask Archangel Raphael and Michael to come and assist me with the next parts. Now, I'm not going to say the script exactly because I don't have it with me. It's in my book, and my book is fucking huge. My book of shadows with all my spells and sigils and things I've accumulated over the years. But I can find it if anybody really wants exactly what I did, because whatever, so send me an email and fucking I'll tell you. But from there, I would ask Archangel, trying to figure out which one I asked first. I want to say I used Raphael first. And from him, I asked him to heal. No, sorry, it was Michael first. I asked him to stand guard and watch and protect me during this process. I'm going to be banishing my old paradigm. So because I want to imprint something new into my thing, into my mind, I actually did two things at this point. I put in a trigger to put me into trance, okay? And I was putting in the name, and I used them in together, meaning my name, my magical name, saying in a specific way with specific breathing puts me into trance, doing it for a certain amount of times. I connected it with the sign of Saturn and stuff like that, but I'm not going to get any more specific than that. So that was the first thing I would program into my mind. And the second thing was the actual name going in there, and I did it simultaneously. Now, you can say, well, should the name be in there first before making it a trigger, or should the name, no, because you can put a trigger in for anything. You can put a trigger in your mind for anything at all. You can say, if I say chicken 7 times on the inhale, then, that puts me in a trance or whatever, and as long as you put it in appropriately, it's going to work. Now, did I put it in appropriately? No, because it didn't work until after the fucking 3 months. Well, 2 months-ish, and I was all stuck in my head, like, when's this going to happen? When's this going to happen? And that's probably why it didn't happen sooner. But I was doing this every single day, and it took the affirmation route for it to get in, and it took the whole 3 months to do it. So if you want to go to a hypnotherapist, then it'll work a hell of a lot faster. But you don't have to do all this just to get your subconscious mind to be named. I mean, like I said, I did overkill. You could use sigils, you can use magic, you can ask a different magical practitioner if you trust them, but this is how I did it. And yes, 3 months can be a long time, but this is something you can do besides your magic. The magic route, if you're forgetting about this and you're only doing it when you're doing it at night, then it could work a lot faster for you. But for me, it took the affirmation route for it to happen. And, truth be told, I was doing another magical operation in the process. So the reason for the banishings, like I said before, that was just to purify the spot. So anyways, I asked Archangel Michael to protect me from anybody around finding out my name and all that, and trying to attach on or do anything bad, okay? Called all the angels, but I was only talking to both of them. And I asked them to banish that for me. Now, you don't have to do that. You can do this all on your own, saying you banish this and you replace it with this. But for me, using the angels was, it just made sense for me. It was something that would work well for me. Like I said, you can use anything. You can use a different goddess, a deity, or whatever you want, whatever works for you to do this process for you. And it may not take 3 fucking months for you. It might only take a month, or it might take 6 months. But honestly, play it every night, put on the affirmations for different things that you want to be programmed in your mind, and, it'll fucking work. But anyway, so he banishes that for me. And then I asked Raphael to heal those issues, heal my physical body from the specific issues. Because for me, I was removing a specific addiction at the time. So I'm not going to get into right now, but I will if you want to know more details, and I'll tell you exactly what I did. And along with this addiction, there's some withdrawal that came along with it. So I didn't want the withdrawal to be as potent. I understood that the withdrawal does come with its own life lessons and do's and don'ts. As much as it sucks to be through withdrawal, it's something that you never want to have again. So it stops you from ever, because if you want to get off a certain drug or caffeine or anything, you're going to need to face that withdrawal, and that's going to help you to never want to do it again. So that's why Archangel Raphael came in. He would be, as Michael was banishing, he would be healing me and banishing any emotional and physical symptoms that came along with that. I wanted Raphael to heal as well. And then from there, I was implanting my I implanted my two things. So like Phil, Freak Phil, Uncle Birch says, you need to banish and then you need to invoke. Because if you just banish something out of your mind and you don't replace it with something, your mind, nature, goddess, subconscious will automatically fill it with what's already there. You will revert back to your old ways. And this has literally been proven, not like with magical words, but it's been proven in many different ways. From pick up on fucking RSD Tyler to, people making millions and losing it and getting it all back and stuff like that. It's been proven over and over and over that whatever you do, you have to, if you banish something, you need to invoke something, for it to tick. So that was the process of putting that in there. And there's a little bit more probably details than that, and they're going to come to me as I keep talking about this. I know that, and if not, I'll check my notes after and I'll add it into the next episode, both on the MOB Magic on a Budget and on the next ceremonial witchcraft program. If you can't wait that long, send me a message. Check YouTube. Maybe I'll put it on YouTube, YouTube video. I got a few up there on my YouTube page. If you want to check it out, check it out. Like I said, it's just me walking around my house, showing you my cards in my house that I manifested, and this way you get to put a face to the voice. Even though I got a couple pictures up there, but anyways, so that was the process. So after all that, like I said, I get Michael for protection and invoke, and I get Raphael to heal. Now I go in a little depth with Raphael to heal the actual cells, to heal any cells that are affected by said addiction. And my mindset. I did an addiction, and I did my mindset. Any mindsets of poverty, of not thinking I'm good enough for being rich, not being good enough for success, anything that was stuck in my mind that would take me or stop me, delay me from making money. I wanted him to remove, I wanted Michael to remove, and I wanted Raphael to heal. And Raphael's healing was part of the inputting the new program. So as he's healing, I had them, I don't know, Mikhail has a sword, right? And he's the fire element, kind of like Mars. He's the warrior, and he's red. And Raphael is the healer. He's got the caduceus. So my script would be specific. As I'm asking Michael to banish something, I literally write down, visualize Mikhail taking his sword and red lightning or flame or energy beam coming out and affecting the spot in my mind where the addiction was. And I don't remember, but I did research on the part of the brain where the addiction was, and I literally named that part of the brain. I don't think it's the hippocampus, or I can't think of any other names right now. But like, once again, if you don't want to look up this stuff, if you're being too lazy, I may not give you all the answers, because you do have to check. And in searching for stuff, this is something I learned from Birch, and he's absolutely right. And the search for knowledge is when you find knowledge. Someone can give you knowledge. You might not appreciate it, you may not even use it. Whereas armchair occultism comes in, you get all this knowledge, and you just don't even put it in play. When you start searching for something, you actually find it yourself, and you have these epiphanies, they stick with you, and it almost kicks you in the ass to do it. But anyways, that's what I did, and then I would tell him, I don't want to be disrespectful, I'm trying hard not to say him and them and just their first names. I want to say Archangel Mikhail and Archangel Raphael. Then I'd ask Archangel Raphael, and he'd wave his caduceus, and then an orange beam of healing light would come out. Now, I don't think I added Gabriel in there at all, but now that I'm talking about it, it would make sense, because I'm dealing with mindsets and emotions, because, quitting a drug can make you very emotional. Your emotions come to the surface because drugs, you kind of push them to the past or push them to the back or ignore them and whatever. So it would make sense to do that, but I don't think I added Gabriel in there. And I definitely didn't have Ariel in there, but there's a chance I may have. But anyways, so that was the process. I did all that. I wrote it all down. Once they were all done and over with, I always make sure I close my circles in my recording, so that, because you're never supposed to walk out of a circle if you have a circle open. there could be some backlash from that, especially if you're doing something as what I'm doing. So in my mind, I would visualize the circle closing and all that. And if I visualized it in my mind and then fell asleep, I had to train myself to wake up and close that. And I'm not gonna lie, there was a few mornings that I wake up early and have to piss, and the recording's no longer going. And it did close in my mind in the recording, hopefully. And so maybe that's why I never really felt the backlash from it. But I never actually did. So as soon as I would realize, oh fuck, I never closed my circle. Wherever I was at the moment, whether I was in the bathroom peeing or almost back to the couch or the bed, I would literally retrace all my steps. Just now, it just happened in my head, while my eyes are closed, lay back on the couch to the moment right before I fucking got up, and I'd close that circle. And then and then I would go back through my head, like, close that circle, go upstairs to the bathroom, come back down to the exact spot I was in, and then boom, we're back to present time. Now, I know that might work, that may not work, but to me, it was real because time's subjective, everything's circle, everything's whatever. I mean, I've literally read things where people talk about, past traumas, to go back in your head, visualizing doing this as like affirmation style, over and over again, going back in your past where you did something wrong, like the first time you did drugs, or the first time someone hurt you or hit you, and change the outcome, change it as if it's never happened, sort of thing. And you can get healing from that. Now, I've never actually done that, but to me, I use the same principle as this. And there's some pretty legit people saying this stuff. So I use it as that principle. So anytime I forgot to close the circle or had to leave the circle or, ran out because something was going on, I would have to stop immediately and do that. It's a hell of a lot easier to just calm down, close your circle, tell whoever you're sorry, and then go back to whatever you're doing. But anyways, so that was the process. If I didn't hit enough information or you need to know more, like I said, anything I forgot, I'm going to read over my notes. I still have the recording saved on my computer that I'm doing this on, so I'm going to replay it all so I make sure I get everything. I'm sure there's a few details that I never said about the closing part and all that and how I asked them or thanked them. I definitely gave them offerings every single day if I could, even if it was just dedicating a candle or whatever, finding something you like, research on the archangels or whoever you're using to help you out with this. That'll be huge. Like I said, you don't have to. You can literally just do an affirmation without all the other steps I said to program your mind to have a name associated to your subconscious. You can literally just write a script. I name my subconscious this. My subconscious mind's name is this. And then every time you do a spell, you sign, maybe sign both the names for a few months, or, just for a month. And then after that, just sign the subconscious name, because that's who you want to change it, is it not? So the person you want to change, you want to get everything in your subconscious mind. Now, signing both names is good, because the conscious mind's doing the magic to get in the subconscious mind. So that will be up to your discretion. But now, when I sign things, it's a sigil of my magical name. I've taken every letter from my magical name, which is a big one, so people can't really guess it or put it together, and it's kind of a mashup of a few different things, so it's very not obvious. And I made a planetary sigil out of the name. So what that means is I started with Saturn and Jupiter and Mars and Venus and Gaia and the moon and the sun and Mercury, and it's a big 8-symbol sigil all put together, and that's my magical name as a sigil. So anyways, this has been the video about reprogramming your subconscious mind. I hope you enjoyed it. I did, and it is huge beneficial, because now anybody sending you anything, or even just your family praying to change Corey LeBlanc or help Corey LeBlanc in the way they want to force their will on